What's going on, guys? This is Oliver, formerly from Response AI and now running Tricomb.com and Getseer.com. Both are in the description. And I wanted to talk today about building a tech product or a SaaS when you can't code. So there's a pervasive myth in the tech world, guys, that you need to know how to code to build a software product. Now, this myth is perpetuated in part because it serves the interests of developers. Now, it's going to get some hate in the comments potentially. I consider myself a developer. I make software. I sell the software to people. So I myself am a developer. I get paid to develop for other people. So, you don't get the pitchforks out. But developers kind of want you to think that it's really hard. And it is really hard to make beautiful software. But we are in the business of making money. And to make money, you don't need to make beautiful software and perfect software. You just need to make the software that provides value to people, right? So the world needs developers and developers need work, but you don't need to be a coder to build a SaaS product these days. So with the advancements in AI and no code tools and low code tools, the barriers to entry have never been lower, right? So you can literally, if you go away now and you just try and build something, there'll be something usable by the end of the day. And right now, say it's 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon for me, I could get a working tool. If I knew no code, I could get a working tool done by 7 p.m. right? You no longer have an excuse to not build something, right? So you might not build the next $1 billion app without coding experience or experience in building products, because remember, we've got to sell the product, right? So you've got to actually get people to buy the thing, right? Which is a different story. That's really hard. But you can build something functional, valuable, and profitable, because these days it's really cheap to start stuff, right? The tools available today and the tools I'm going to show you today are evolving so fast that what seems impossible now, which it feels like anything's possible right now, but that might be trivial in 6 months, right? Or maybe in a few weeks. The things that I do deem as impossible right now, like some of the AI-driven stuff, it could be possible in the next 2 weeks, because that's how fast things are moving. Now, the video is a step-by-step guide on building a tech product without writing a single line of code. So I'll walk you through the process, the tools, and the mindset shifts that you guys need to succeed and get a SaaS product out there and making money. Right now, I have 2 SaaS products. One is making about $2,500 a month with very little work. And the other one, I'm currently at around $500 a month in revenue. And I also have an agency and things like that. You can build a really nice life for yourself, guys. And I admit that I don't put that much work into my software. I do YouTube. I have work, agency work. I have, things I'm doing in my personal life. I'm not spending, 12 hours a day, 15 hours a day working on my software. And it still makes a decent amount of money because I know how to build it quickly without, knowing how to code and going through the 5-year process of learning how to code. You just don't need to do it anymore, guys. So the myth of knowing code is a prerequisite, right? So the myth persists. It's a self-reinforcing myth. So developers, understandably, they have a incentive to maintain this belief because it keeps demand high for their skill. And slowly AI is diminishing that demand, right? So the reality is that coding is just one part of building software. And thanks to modern tools, it's not a bottleneck anymore. So the new and painful bottlenecks are things like distribution and sales. So distribution, guys, is just putting your product out there and people using it, right? So we're in a good place right now because you had to worry about all 3 before: coding, distribution, and sales. But now you only really have to know about distribution and sales, and there's plenty of ways to do that. Now, in 2025, things are accelerating. So they've already shifted dramatically. Tools like Cursor, Supabase, Vercel, Lovable, they've all democratized app development. So in other words, they've put app development in the hands of people who do not know how to code, which is amazing, right? And these tools abstract away the complexity of coding. So it allows you to focus on solving problems and building tools without thinking like, oh, I have to know JavaScript and all this kind of stuff. You just don't anymore, guys. That's why there's no longer any excuse, like I said, for you not to build, because it's too easy to start something. And it's a very, very powerful thing to tell me, oh, I'm not going to start an app because I can't code. I'm like, it used to be a trump card. I go, right, get out of jail free. Like, I can't say anything to you. But now if you say, oh, I'm scared of making an app because it's too expensive. No, it's not. I'm scared of making an app because I don't know how to code. Nope, neither do I, but I make I've made like 7 SaaS products, right? This is the thing. You've just got to get started, right? So new tools and capabilities are released almost daily, right? Don't get like snuffed out by all that stuff, because if you're on the ball too much with it, you have to be on the ball, but don't like obsess over these new tools and stuff, because you'll be like buying subscriptions to all this stuff, and it's just you're going to take loads of time, and you're going to be too scared about like the science fiction aspect of it, of like, whoa, like all this is crazy. Don't get bogged down. Choose a couple of tools that I'll show you today, build, and then later on when you're making money and stuff, you can start like fangirling over like all this stuff that's being released, but don't think too much, right? Choose a few tools and then you're done. Sometimes it's really cool. I turn on, it depends if you know your definition of cool, but I turn on speech to text on my MacBook and I talk to my damn computer like a Jarvis on Iron Man, right? It follows my commands like Jarvis, and it feels bonkers. Like all the code is being written as I'm talking to it. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't really like how that box looks. Can you change the shape and size of that box? And it just says, of course I will. And then the code changes it it's crazy, right? So breaking down app development into manageable pieces, right? So the 4 pillars of software development. At its core, right, listen, people in the comments who actually know how to code properly are going to go nuts. They're like, I know, I know enough to make loads of money from it, right? I don't know enough that I couldn't go and have some interview with Amazon, and like get a job as a coder. I couldn't. The first question they asked me, no matter how fundamental, I would not be able to answer it. I don't know. You can keep on testing me and tell me all these things and tell me I'm stupid and tell me I'm a moron. I don't care, man, because I make money with it. I only care about making money with it. I don't care about being good at it. I care about selling something that is good enough to provide value. People message me and say, I love this. Dude, how much do you need to know? If people are messaging you and going, I love this tool, are they going to say, I love this tool, but answer this coding question. I need to know if you're an expert. No. Just build. You don't have to know everything, right? So people crucify me for this. If you actually know how to develop, I'm going to simplify it for you, because you don't need to know a lot. I'm not in the business of being a perfect developer. I'm in the business of making money. And the following is all you need. A front end. This is what the user sees and interacts with. So buttons, forms, pages, like just the stuff you see on the front. When you go on Amazon, the front end is all the products being shown, the search bar, all that malarkey, right? The back end is how those products on Amazon are being shown to you. Like, it's not just on the front end. There's data, the prices, whether they're Amazon's choice, whether they're on Amazon Prime, what their delivery dates are. All of these things are on the back end and stored in a database somewhere, right? Plus, when you log into Amazon, your user details, your username and password and things like that are all stored on the back end. The back end is where all the data and stuff like that is, right? The database is like back end. It's where your app data is stored. So user profiles, if they save stuff. If I go on Amazon now and I save my address, there's a database on their back end saying Oliver's address is XYZABC. And if I change it, it edits that table. Now, making your app live is called deployment. So those are, the 4 stages of app development. Front end, you can get done in about 20 minutes. Back end, you can use some of the tools I'll show you today. The database is in the same tools I'll show you today. And then deployment is another tool. You could do this in an hour. Man, I'm doing it these days in about 15 minutes. From idea to the first page live online that you can log into, you can do it in 15 minutes. So by breaking down app development into these 4 pillars, the process becomes much less intimidating and more manageable, right? Now, the hyenas of overcomplication, right? So there'll always be people who try to muddy the simplified view. They'll throw around terms like scalable infrastructure, cloud architecture, security protocols, right, to make the process seem more complex than it is, right? They are trying to keep you broke. They want you broke. They want you to be a fucking loser, right? Ignore them. These people, they never ever get stuff done. They're just like, and they just never actually build anything. Because they're like, I need to know this, I need to know that, cybersecurity. No. They thrive, right, on creating analysis paralysis, and they are paralyzed by analysis as well. that they themselves are like, oh, I'm going to perpetuate this and I'm going to lie to you because I hate you, right? The truth is, you don't need to understand every technical detail to build a functional app. I can't stress that enough. You just need to focus on the basics, the front end, the back end, the database, and deployment. So the tools that I personally use to build. Front end is Cursor, which is a AI coding like helper, and Next.js. Next.js is a language that you can build with. So all you guys know about like JavaScript, right? That is a language that you build in. Next.js is just a language that you build in. You don't need to know anything else. Cursor is an AI-powered code editor that helps you write and debug code using natural language. So all I mean by that is it's a code editor that you can talk to in normal layman's terms. So if we're all assuming we can't code, I can say, build me a website that shows stock market prices in a cool font, right? And you're not going to have to say, oh, the div and you literally just have to say that and it'll understand you in plain English. Because we are in the world now of natural language prompting, which don't worry about like how like wordy that sounds. It just means that you can talk in natural plain English. Your dad could get on here if he's never been on a computer before to do code. He could explain what he wants out of an app and then it could be built for him by the AI, right? Now, instead of using annoying coding jargon, you can just say stuff like change the width of that box. I don't like it. And it'll just do it, right? So it understands simple terms. And if you can describe an app, you can build it, right? Now, Next.js is a React framework. So don't worry about that. It just means that React is like a language that it's built on, whatever, right? But all it means is that we can build what the user sees on the page, right? And it's designed to work seamlessly with the deployment called Vercel, right? A deployment tool called Vercel. So in other words, Next.js is what we're building in and what the user sees on the front. And then we deploy it with Vercel, which is built by the same company. So what the user sees, we can build with Next.js, and how it gets sent to the user and how a user can actually log in and use it, we can use Vercel for, right? Now, a bit more complicated, the backend and database, we would use Supabase. Now, all three of the tools I've just mentioned, Next.js, Vercel, and Supabase, all free. Done. Like free, completely free. I got to 2.5K a month with one of my softwares and it doesn't cost me anything. I swear to God, it doesn't cost anything to run this, right? Because I don't have millions of users. I have, say, 250 users who are paying, 10 quid a month or 20 quid a month, whatever it may be. And 250 users is hilariously low for what Supabase can deal with, what Vercel can deal with, whatever it may be, right? So anyway, backend and database is Supabase. This handles backend logic and database management, right? So let's pump the brakes. All it means is that users' data is stored there. So if they create an account is stored there. If they save their address, stored there. If they download a picture, is stored there. So they can go and see it again later. The simplest version of this, guys, is a to-do list app, right? So when you log into a to-do list and you say, pick up groceries, go to gym, it's going to save those to-dos to the back end, Supabase. And then later on, the reason it's still there when you log in, so, you don't add something to a to-do list, log out, and then later on it just disappears. You don't log into a video game and you have a certain sword or a certain car, and then an hour later you log in and it's disappeared. It saves, doesn't it? So it saves onto the back end. That's why a back end will always persist what a user has. So when I log into Amazon every day, my address is the same. Of course it is, because I saved it a year ago, 5 years ago, and it's still stored on the back end. Now listen, every time you log in, the front end says, what data are we pulling for this guy? And the front end will show my address. Front end is my fist. Back end is where all the data is stored. Front end goes, oh, what's going on? Like, what is this guy's address? And the back end goes, oh, it's XYZ, Wales, UK, right? The front end simply talks to the back end and asks it for data. Now, people are going to crucify me like this. I don't care, man. Like, I know enough to build an app, and I'm not trying to teach you guys how to code perfectly. I'm trying to teach you how to build something that people like, right? So it's perfect for user authentication, so logging in, storing their data, And then updates. So say if you want to change your address on Amazon, the front end says, here's the box, type in your new address. Then you save it and the back end gets changed. So all it is front end talking to back end always, right? Put another way, any data that you guys have for a user, sign up, sign ins, what they've saved, their nickname on some app, it gets saved to the back end, which is Supabase, so that it doesn't disappear next time they log in. And a simple way of explaining this, you've built a single page with Next.js that lets a user, let's call him Pete, save his nickname. He chooses Pete the Pirate as his nickname and clicks save on the front end. Now the front end sends the nickname to Supabase and saves Pete the Pirate as Pete's nickname, right? And that's permanent until Pete wants to change it. Now when Pete logs in next time, his nickname will always populate as Pete the Pirate, because when he logs in, the front end goes, what data do we have? Back end sends it. Simple as guys. All right. Now, I'm not affiliated with any of the products that we're going to talk about. So this is the process part. So building a simple software product. Now, these tools have helped me scale my SaaS products to 500 plus users and an exit, guys. I've sold a company, which made me money. And I'm trying to help you guys do the same. So we're going to sign up for Supabase, sign up for lovable.dev, and follow the instructions to connect Supabase with Lovable, right? And that is as simple as saying, hey, Lovable, please connect me to Supabase. Guys, do you know what I mean? I'm going to create a proper video about this where I actually build an app from scratch that allows users to log in, then allows users to save data to the back end and allows them to pay. So that's all we need. I'm going to build that video this week and release it and you're ready to go. So subscribe, guys, if you want to see that, all right? So step 2 is building the basics. So step 1 was just what tools we're going to use. Step 2 is the basics, right? So if we go back, where am I now? Front end, use Lovable to create a simple page that says hello world. You just say, hi, Lovable, please create me a page that says hello world. With authentication, we're going to set up sign up and sign in functionality using Supabase. And you just have to ask Lovable, help me do this. And it'll connect you to your Supabase account. Database, create a table to store the user data. So user ID, sign up date, and a nickname, right? Connect the front end and back end. So use Lovable to connect your front end to Supabase. Build a simple feature like a nickname saver where users can save and edit their nicknames. This would be as simple as saying, hi, Lovable, make me a field under the hello world where users can save their nickname. Then deploy your app. So use Vercel to deploy your app. And you can test your app to ensure everything works as expected. And then Lovable will tell you if it's broken or not. Now, handling errors. So once you're building all of that, and you're going to run into loads of errors, guys. One of the biggest fears non-coders have. So if you want to build an app, but you don't know how. Basically, people are like, oh, it's going to run into errors, and I don't understand how to debug things and stop glitches, right? Modern tools make this process very easy because we can ask for what's called verbose logging, right? So tools like Cursor and Lovable, they provide detailed error logs that explain exactly what went wrong. And you can ask for this to double down. So, hey, Lovable, my nickname is not saving to the back end. It's not, my front end, in other words, is not sending the data to Supabase. So my front end is not sending the data to the back end. So it's not saving, it's not working. Please add more logs to tell me why this is happening. And it'll add hundreds of logs. When you click save nickname, be some big error, and it'll be like, oh, it's that. You copy and paste the error, send it to Lovable, and then it'll fix it. Right? So all you have to do is copy paste the error into the AI, and then it will suggest the fixes, right? So for example, if your app crashes because of a database connection, so in other words, the front end can't speak to the back end because the back end's like, no. So front end, back end, front end's like, send me data. What's this guy's nickname? And the back end goes, no, I'm not going to send it to you. That might be because there's the wrong password or the wrong key, right? You ask the AI, how do I fix this error that's come up? And it'll guide you through the solution. The main limitation of no code, so this is the bottleneck part of the natural language prompts. The main limitation of no code and AI powered tools is how well you can describe what you want, guys. So if you can't articulate your vision clearly, these tools won't be able to help you. So how to improve your prompting skills is just being really specific. Typically what I do is I click the the speech to text thing on my MacBook and I actually talk to it. I just spend like 5-10 minutes talking to the AI, creating a massive dialogue. Then I send it and it'll go off and start working. There are countless tutorials on how to do this. And you can also read the documentation of Cursor and Lovable because they'll tell you how to write good prompts that builds good software, guys. Now, the more you use these tools, the better you'll actually get at it, right? Now, if we talk about database logic really quickly, right? So databases can seem really intimidating. And again, this is the lie that's perpetuated, is that they're impossible, you can't work with them, whatever. It's just an organized collection of data, like an Excel spreadsheet, right? Or a Google Sheet. We've all used it, right? So tables are like spreadsheets, and each table stores data, right? Now, policies are what govern that data. So, for example, you can add a policy to a Supabase table that says, allow users to add a nickname and allow users to delete their own data, right? And things like allow users to only be able to see their own data. That's why when you log into GTA, you have a specific car, but you don't have your friend's car because their data is their own. So that's as simple as that. And also, like here, you set up your database so that users can only see their own data. So Steve can't see Phil's nickname and vice versa. Don't overcomplicate this, guys. Ask Lovable to do it for you or Cursor, and they'll just start explaining things, right? So the tools I'd use to start SaaS today, right? So if I was starting right now, which I start every day, I build stuff every day, sign up for Supabase and Lovable, follow the instructions to connect them together, build a simple app with sign up and sign in functionality, add a feature that lets users save and edit a nickname, and deploy the app using Vercel, and constantly ask Lovable what to do. In a weekend, I'm going to be honest, within an hour, you have a functional product that's live for people to log into and use. You don't need code to build, guys. The tools available today have made it possible for anyone to build a tech product, a SaaS, right? If you have any sort of excuse, you are blind. I can't listen to the excuses at this point. The only thing holding you back is analysis paralysis and the fear of not knowing enough, right? And that's fine. But you just gotta shut up. Also, if you have a problem with like not knowing what to build, then for now just build anything. Just try and copy something online. Like, say an example is like a simple app where you input a domain like Amazon.com and it just scrapes the homepage. Like, ask Lovable how to do this and it'll start doing it for you. It's as simple as that. You don't need to be a coder to build software. You just need to be a problem solver. Pick a problem, choose the tools you want, start building. It takes literally 1 weekend to build something cool. And that, guys, is literally it. If you guys have any questions at all, just let me know. But you need to start. You just start building something today. Very, very simple. Sign up to Supabase, sign up to Lovable, get started, and you're good to go. Any questions at all, just give me a shout, guys, but good luck. All right?